Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is the Business and AI podcast, and if you're like me, you like reading business and AI books, this is a place to be. We've been exploring our third book, Supremacy AI, ChatGPT and the Risk That Will Change the World. And from this book, we are really taking a fascinating look at how tech giants and visionary entrepreneurs like Sam Altman are steering AI towards new heights. And if you listen to our previous episodes, you remember that the early chapters focused on Sam Altman, Demis, Hassabis, two remarkable figures whose personal passions and ambitions ignited an AI arms race. So now we are going to talk about chapters 7 and 8. Chapter 7 is titled Playing Games, and it reminds us that AI's greatest leaps often comes from playful environments. Yet, these environments have a transformative impact on real-world applications. We'll also look at chapter 8 titled Everything is Awesome. And this chapter captures a moment of collective euphoria in AI. But what does that euphoria mask or reveal? So we'll take a closer look. And as usual, in this episode, we would mix summary, analysis, critique, and by the end, you would have a richer sense of how these chapters connect to the broader AI conversation. Ready to go? Let's jump right in. So yeah, chapter 7, Playing Games. So picture this scene. We are in a cutting-edge lab where computers aren't just whiling away at data, but mastering games that once stumped human minds. That's the heart of chapter 7. Demis Hassabis, whom we first encountered as a teenage boy prodigy fascinated by god games like Theme Park, is back in the spotlight. This time, the focus is on how DeepMind elevates gaming from light entertainment into a robust testing ground for advanced AI. Why gaming? Well, the structured nature of a game, be it chess, Go, or an Atari title, gives AI systems a neat sandbox where they can learn, adapt, and self-improve. We see how breakthroughs like AlphaGo and AlphaZero stunned the world when they triumphed over champions in highly strategic games. But these victories aren't just about bragging rights. They fuel the technical confidence that AI can tackle more diverse real-world problems. Think about protein folding, that's AlphaFold, or next-level robotics. But with ambition comes risk. The chapter points out that as AI grows more adept at solving these structured puzzles, corporate giants raise their expectations. It's no longer enough to be the grandmaster at Go. Now, everyone wants to know how these algorithms can handle resource allocation, medical diagnostics, or even climate science. The tension is palpable. These are lofty aspirations, yet the demand to commercialize can hurry the process faster than some researchers are comfortable with. By the end of chapter 7, you sense that playing games is both literal and metaphorical. Literal in that the advanced AI learns through gaming simulations, and metaphorical because the major players, DeepMind, Google, Microsoft, are locked in a chess match of their own, vying to be the first to the finish line. Moving on to chapter 8, everything is awesome. Chapter 8 moves us into the phase of near total excitement, the gold rush atmosphere of AI. Suddenly, everything is possible, or so it seems. Venture capital is flowing at astonishing levels. New startups pop up each week, touting the next big AI solution. Meanwhile, several established tech behemoths aren't just dipping their toes in, they are cannibalizing entire sectors to get the best researchers, engineers, and data sets. According to the author, this era brims with celebratory headlines. One day you hear about a chatbot that can generate entire essays, and the next day a code generation tool that might transform how software is written. It is exhilarating ride, and the enthusiasm is, far from baseless. Many Gen AI tools are achieving feats that only a couple of years ago felt like distant sci-fi. Still, the upbeat mood isn't without shadows. Corporate titans maneuver behind the scenes, forging alliances and acquisitions. For example, Google's stewardship of DeepMind, Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI, all of these deals underscore a bigger strategy to consolidate AI power. And at this point, ethical questions abound. Who's protecting our data? Are marginalized communities at risk of being further sidelined by algorithmic bias? When is automation beneficial and when does it morph into job displacement? Thus, everything is awesome describes the honeymoon phase of AI mania, a time of real innovation and possibility, but also a moment when critics are waving flags about oversight, transparency, and the need for guardrails. In short, the author draws a picture of industry euphoria tinged with the awareness that complicated challenges loom just beneath the surface. So let's at this point discuss what really worked well in these chapters and what might leave you wanting for more. I do like the natural connection between these chapters and the previous chapters of this book. We have moved from personal stories of Altman and Hassabis, where their youthful dreams collided with corporate demands, to a broader perspective of entire industries following their lead. Also, despite covering technical ground, um, the author also keeps the story personal and engaging. For instance, we see a glimpse of Hassabis' early passion for games, which reappears now as a cornerstone of AI research, bridging the gap from playful curiosity to breakthroughs with massive real-world impact. Also, Chapter 7 celebrates AI achievements in gaming while acknowledging that the commercial pressures. While Chapter 8 captures that everything is awesome, it also gently reminds us that the uncritical hype can obscure real social and ethical dilemmas. So, but then I do think that the surface level tech explanation might leave readers hoping for a more technical dive into reinforcement learning or generative AI. The author focuses on how companies pivot strategic games winning into broader applications, but he doesn't really talk about the intricate science behind it. So it can be hard to picture how playing a game translates to scientific breakthrough. Also, the ethical concerns are noted: bias, job loss, secrecy, but they are not explored at length here. So if you're craving for a more robust debate or direct input from critics and regulators, you would probably more wait for later chapters of this book. So for those who watched AlphaGo's matches or followed the earlier days of generative AI, some of Chapter 7's details on gaming might feel like a retread. Still, the author's spin is to fold these known events into a bigger question. How do these fun successes shape the future of work, society, and ethics? So where do Chapter 7 and 8 fit into our current world? Well, if you open any tech news site, you see the everything is awesome vibe in full force, right? Gen AI startups are announcing new tools weekly, even overshadowing cautionary voices who warn against rushing new models out the door. With each breakthrough from medical diagnostics to financial analytics, the lines between hype and reality blur. So these chapters mirror our ongoing reality, a swell of excitement, big money, and big questions about AI's societal impact. So now let's translate the lessons of these chapters into practical guidance you can use whenever, or whether you're a tech enthusiast, a startup founder, or just an engaged citizen. First of all, let's talk about prototype in game environments. If you are developing AI, consider using toy problems or game-like simulations to test algorithms. Chapter 7 shows how safe, controlled settings allow for rapid iterations and fail-fast experimentation, leading to stronger real-world solutions. Also, looking at chapter 8, everything is awesome. That spirit underscores that human tendency to get it underscores that human tendency to get swept up by hype. So balancing optimism with caution helps avoid overpromising. So you need to introduce like an internal or external reality check, such as a small trusted panel to assess your AI's real impacts before you scale. Finally, whenever AI technology leaps forward, ask who is truly benefiting. Are you building tools that help diverse communities, or are you funneling power into a handful of corporate giants? Chapter 8's portrayal of big deals and acquisition highlights that not all, not everybody benefits equally from AI's progress. Now let's take a look at our reflection questions for this episode. So our first question for reflection for today would be, in this era where everything is awesome, how do you measure genuine societal impact versus this short-term hype? For example, OpenAI would release, I heard they would release GPT-5 pretty soon, and then it's going to make the news all over again. It's a wonderful model. It can do all these things. But how do you measure that it's genuinely impacting the society positively versus, it's just a short hype and then maybe something else would make the news the next week? Our second question for reflection would be, with AI crossing into multiple industries, how do you see, or do you even see parallels to historical cycles like the dot-com bubble? How might we learn from past booms and busts? Then the third question would be, if you had to create an AI training game that benefits society, what would it simulate? Could it be an environmental model, a disaster response test, or something entirely new? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section, if you will. So that brings us to the end of our exploration of chapters 7 and 8 of Supremacy AI, ChatGPT, and the race that will change the world. We've seen how playing games is a masterstroke for AI learning, proving algorithms in fun content labs before unleashing them onto bigger challenges. And we've also looked at chapter 8, Everything is Awesome, where excitement borders on frenzy, fueling not just breakthroughs but also new responsibilities and ethical concerns. In our next episode, we'll move forward into chapter 9, titled The Goliath Paradox, and we will keep analyzing, dissecting, and reflecting on this book and in the current AI discussion as a whole. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please join us for our next episode where we would continue learning more about AI.